Hey everyone, it's Christine, welcome to ParanormalTV if you're new, and welcome back if you're not. So I filmed this whole video and I didn't like the way it turned out. So I'm refilming it, and I hope I have some of the same enthusiasm as I had the first go around with this video. So as the title says, we're going to be talking about Ghost Hunters. We're going to be reviewing the premiere, which I was super excited for. If you don't follow me on Twitter, you probably don't know, but I was like talking about the premiere happening for so long now because I was super excited for it. I am an OG Ghost Hunters fan. I remember when I first saw Ghost Hunters, I was actually living in a house I believed was haunted, and I did a video about that a long time ago, but I'll throw that in the end cards for you at the end of this video if you would like to hear my haunted house story. But I was living in a house I thought was haunted, and I was having some weird experiences. My family were having weird experiences. We couldn't explain those experiences. I was already into the paranormal, and I remember this day so clearly because I was so hyped about the show. I was sitting on the floor, unbeknownst to me now. I don't know why I was sitting on the floor, but I was. And my stepdad turned on the show, and it was Ghost Hunters, and I got really into it. And I remember turning back to him and saying, "What is this show? I really like it." And he told me it was Ghost Hunters, and from then on I was a huge fan. So one thing that Ghost Hunters taught me was that anybody can investigate. And up until that point, this sounds stupid, but back in the day there weren't people investigating very often on camera, and if they were picked by a TV show. And I just thought people were picked by TV shows to investigate, and that's just how it worked. Like Real Scary Stories or Scariest Places on Earth or Fear. I love those shows, and I always wanted to be on those shows. I was not old enough at the time of them airing, but those were the type of shows that were around at that time, and that's what I thought happened, that you were just picked and people put you on a TV show and gave you equipment, and no one that was like you or I were out there investigating. So when I saw Ghost Hunters and I saw that they were normal people with normal day jobs, I was like, I will investigate one day too. And here we are. What's cool is I've investigated places that Ghost Hunters investigated, like Eastern State and places in Gettysburg, and I just think that's so cool. And I didn't run from cell block 4 like Brian, I'm just saying. Dude, run! I was in cell block 4. Just saying, just I want to throw that in there. I want to throw that in there. So if I could investigate or do anything paranormal or go on any adventure with anyone, it would be, there's two people. It would be Josh Gates and it would be Grant Wilson. I love those two people. I think that they're fantastic in the paranormal field. Grant was my favorite person actually on the show. I really like Jay, Steve, Tango, Amy and Adam. I love Amy and Adam. But Grant was always my favorite person. I don't really know why. I just felt like I connected with his investigating style, and as a person I just really liked Grant. I feel like the show kind of plateaued at that moment. Like it wasn't the same. I felt like the editing didn't do it any favors after it got further on in the seasons. I felt like there was like this trend of overproduced editing going about, and I felt like Ghost Hunters started to hop on that trend, which isn't my favorite. So I was really concerned with the editing and how it was going to be portrayed this time around, and I was also worried if I would like the cast, if they would feel like Ghost Hunters to me, or if it would just feel like a knockoff. So those were my worries going into, I'm so hot. Those were my worries going into this show. When you're filming and you're just too hot and you want to turn on a fan, but you can't, so you just spray yourself with coconut water. Okay, so we're gonna get into actually reviewing it now. Alright, so before the actual episode, they had an episode where they introduced everyone and they talked about why other members were not a part of the show, and I really liked that. I thought that was really, that's my dog sighing. I thought it was really nice of them to do that, because there was definitely a lot of questions going around. Is there any ill will towards each other? Or are they feuding? I heard people say like Grant left Steve and Tango behind and Jay wanted to do it, and so that's why they're on one show together. So they mentioned Jay, and I thought that was cool because Jay did co-found Ghost Hunters with Grant. Basically, they said the other members of the team had moved on to other projects and other shows, and we know that to be true. And I thought it was nice that they addressed that because they didn't have to, but it was nice that they did. Also, there was no shade. It felt very classy. It was very nice. I liked it. I thought it was cool they had this episode to introduce the team and talk about technologies and talk about the old team and just kind of get reacquainted with Grant and this new team, get acquainted with this new team. I thought that was cool. So now we're going to go on to the actual show. So like I said early on, I liked that we could relate to ghost hunters as being normal people. So I really like that they showed that Grant is a family man and kind of gave you that connection again. Like, yes, these are normal people who are like me, like you, and I just thought it was cool. I really like that they had an electrician on standby. I know this is something that's not always feasible, that it's not something you could always do. You can't always bring an electrician with you to every single investigation. It could be paranormal, but it could very well not be paranormal, and if it's not paranormal, you have that expert to tell you for sure that it's not, without any questions. If it's not paranormal, you want to know if it's electricity problem, because that can be a little scary. You want to know what's going on with your electricity. You don't want to have an electrical fire or anything like that. I felt like it kept the overall feel of Ghost Hunters when Ghost Hunters was at its prime, except for it was better, you know, better technology, and it was great editing, and I loved it. I felt like it felt like Ghost Hunters, but just a little bit more improved. I also really liked the team, and that was one of my biggest worries, was that I was going to watch it and hate the team, but I liked the team. I liked everyone on the team. I felt like everyone brought something interesting to the team. I felt like they all investigated very well, and there was not one person where I was like, ugh, I don't know about this one, or I don't trust this one. I like them all. And I feel like when you have a show that had been on for so long and you change the entirety of the team aside from one person, it can go very south. So for it to not do that, I felt like you knew they got the right people. I really like that they added energy to the space with the Tesla speaker. I thought this was a really cool idea. It plays off the theory of spirits communicating with energy, using energy to communicate, and I loved that they did this. This is something that I think that I'm going to wind up incorporating in my investigations. Maybe not with a Tesla speaker, but I will definitely be trying to add more energy to the space based on this investigation, just because I thought it was a great idea, and you don't see that very often. I thought it was really interesting and I loved it. It actually reminded me of a movie that I just saw recently, and I cannot remember the movie. The one thing I never really liked that they used to do was the flashlight trick, which, if you don't know what the flashlight trick is, you take a flashlight and you unscrew the top so it becomes very sensitive, and the theory is that the ghost can easily turn it on and off, and they can communicate with you that way. I don't like this because it's overly sensitive in my opinion. I feel like vibrations could easily set it off, and I'm just not a fan of it. So I liked that instead of unscrewing the top, they left the flashlight as is and see if they could get the ghost to communicate with their energy, using the energy from the Tesla speaker and all of that and all the lights to turn them on and off. I thought that was a much better idea. I like that one so much more than unscrewing the top of the flashlight. I just felt like it's too sensitive of a tool to use when you use it that way. So I think it was cool that they changed it up. I love that they still sit down with the client and they show their findings of things that are paranormal and things that aren't paranormal. This isn't something you see on every show. You do see it on several shows, but I feel like there are a few very popular shows out there that don't do this, and I think it's great for us to see it. And I don't know if they show the client in general, like on Ghost Adventures. I don't know if they show the client or the client has to wait for the show to come out. I don't really know how that works. But I like seeing the client's reaction. I always did. I thought the editing was great. It was not overproduced, and I loved the editing. I thought it was perfect. I thought it was absolutely perfect. I loved the technology they used. I love that they didn't go crazy with some of the crazy tech that's out there. I thought the team did a wonderful job. I thought that they were amazing. I thought Amy did a wonderful job. Whoever the editor is did an amazing job. I was a big fan of this show. I thought it was a great way to bring him back. I'm really happy with it. Let me know what you thought of Ghost Hunters down below. I want to know if you liked it or not. Have you always been a fan of Ghost Hunters? Let me know down below. I'm actually going to go film a review on Psychic Kids next, so I will see you in my next video, which will probably be the review on Psychic Kids. Bye! As always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and if you're not part of the Gold Team already, I would love to have you here, and you can do so by clicking the icon to the right of me. I promise you it's fun, we have a good time here, and if you're just wanting to watch more paranormal content, I have a few videos linked down below for you guys. So thank you so much for tuning in, thank you for being here, I hope you enjoyed, and have a spectacular day.